3. Freddy's just around the corner.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Happy Halloween. It's our Halloween
friends.
episode, Pete.
Yes, indeed. I've been waiting for this all year.
We've been holding this movie since pretty much the first year of the show.
We've also been doing the Nightmare on Elm Street movies out of order, but that is neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, whoever you are, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott. And these are the movies that made us gay.
Yay.
Welcome to our Halloween episode. So we're having a little Halloween podcast party. We had the two guys from Happy Horror Time, Matt and Tim. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Kisses.
Happy
Kissy,
Halloween,
kissy.
guys.
And
Happy Halloween to you.
And we had you over to watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, directed by Chuck Russell, released February 27th, 1987. Dream Warriors, we finally got to it. So it's kind of funny of what our journey for the Nightmare movies were. That we started the first October with Freddy's Revenge. We did the gay one the first year.
Yeah.
And then we had your partner, Jacob, on for The Dream Master.
Your producer.
Your producer, yeah.
He is our producer, and that is like his favorite one.
Yeah. And we love that movie. And I don't care that we're doing these out of order, just as long as we're getting to them. Do we all remember where we were in 1987 when this movie came out?
I was 10 years old, begging my parents to take me.
I wasn't even born. Kidding. Of course I was born. No, I was like 7 or 7.5, and I hadn't been exposed to horror movies yet.
Yeah, I just remember the trailer was heavily going.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, at this point, I think Freddy was fully established as, like, the kids love him. Mm-hmm. This is, like, full-on franchise mode. Let's get these asses in the seats.
And were they doing one a year? Well, I guess if they skipped 86. So A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven, was 84. Freddy's Revenge, October of 85. And then, they skipped a year, and then Wes Craven came back to co-write and produce this movie.
Well, they had to skip a year. Nancy had to go to grad school.
Right, exactly. And everyone had to get their beta machines out and watch parts 1 and 2.
Yeah, to get a refresher. I mean, we'll talk about the kind of the breaks between the movies and all that, but let's talk a little bit about our history with Freddy and Elm Street. Mm-hmm. You guys want to take it as far as like your first memories of going back to Elm Street and Freddy Krueger?
You go first, Tim.
Okay, so my introduction was all the neighborhood kids were watching it in the basement, the original.
Yeah.
The Elm Street Kids?
The Elm Street Kids were watching the Elm Street Kids. And I remember walking down into the basement. It was pitch black. They were watching it on a hot summer day, but it was in a really, really scary basement, and I was forever changed. And then I begged my mom to get part 2. I watched part 2. And then I remember my brother and I were sharing a room, and I really wanted. I know. Ohio's terrible. And Springwood, Ohio.
Are you from Ohio, Tim?
I'm from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but not Springwood.
But not Springwood.
Can't tell. He's got Midwest written all over him.
My plaid shirt.
You can't see him. He's wearing a plaid shirt.
I'm a lesbian.
Truck driving lesbian from Ohio.
And then I wanted to put up a Freddy Krueger poster in my bedroom. My brother was like, "No, I'm so scared."
Really?
Yeah.
Was he younger than you?
No, he was older.
What a sissy, am I right?
I love it.
No, I love my brother, but that was my introduction to Freddy, and obviously I went on to all the sequels and Freddy's Nightmare was on Saturday nights, and I remember as an 11 or 12-year-old, or even maybe 13, it's not like I was out at the Abbey.
Partying, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's like my Saturday nights were Freddy's Nightmares, and if anyone has seen Freddy's Nightmares, they know
that they are rough.
I've never seen Freddy's Nightmares. I think
they might be on
Tubi.
Because
of course, Tubi.
Every single one.
Tubi would have that quality television.
Ooh.
The funniest thing about Freddy's Nightmares is that probably half the celebrities that we have interviewed on our podcast have been in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares. It's like a gateway for every person who's been in a horror movie.
You know what? They start off good. They're an hour long, but the first half is always so strong, and then the writer is just like, forget it.
But they don't always have to do with Freddy, and that's the weird part. Like, they really take liberties with like how connected they are to even anything. Really.
And Freddy's like a crypt keeper.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Freddy like the crypt keeper? And just intros all the episodes?
He's in the first episode. Like, if you watch the pilot, it's specifically related to Freddy, like a prequel.
It's like his trial, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. But then it gets to be Freddy is just the announcer.
That's why stick to the films. They're great.
We wanted more Freddy content. The 11-year-old like gay boys in Ohio were like, we want Freddy.
I know. I was like, where's that Dream Master?
I know.
I didn't experience Nightmare on Elm Street until I was in junior high, so I was probably 11, 12. And I used to, when I had sleepovers, I would always rent all horror movies. And so one time, I think we rented 1, 2, and 3 all together. Wow. And all I remember is, well, first off, I always thought it was really scary. Freddy was scary, but I wasn't as scared by the fact that he'd kill you in the dreams, because I always thought, I guess as a kid, well, if I don't dream about him, I have nothing to be worried about, right? Yeah. Like, he's not going to just walk up to my house. But I remember thinking, even as a kid, like, I loved 1 and I loved 3, and I remember watching 2 at that time. I totally missed all the gay stuff, but I was just like, this doesn't feel connected to them at all. Yeah. Like, what happened?
Oh, really? I thought the house was enough.
I guess just because they didn't have Nancy, so I remember loving, because the original was like my favorite. It was so good, and then I remember loving 3 because they brought Nancy back. Like, so excited that they brought.
And
Nancy
she was only
back.
23.
Can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot to say about the age of Nancy and how they style her, but we'll get to that later.
I love her style.
Yeah, we love college graduate Nancy.
So we've kind of gone into our background with the Nightmare movies and our episodes on Freddy's Revenge and the Dream Master, but I did not watch any of these movies until college.
Wow.
Just because, and it wasn't one of those things that I didn't like horror as a kid. I did love stuff like The Omen. I remember watching The Exorcist when I was like 14 years old, loving that. But there was something about Robert Englund on those VHS boxes that I'm just like, nope, I'm not watching this. And I did not watch the first movie until I was probably 22 years old.
Wow.
And
Really?
And then also get this, I don't think that I watched any of the sequels until I started seeing Pete.
Yeah.
And we bought
What?
we bought that Best Buy Blu-ray set. So I feel
in
like
your 60s?
we watched all of them. Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I'm only 25 years old.
Wow.
So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have the whole, like, I watched them way too young, kind of thing with my cousins, and we had no business watching them and all that stuff. But I will say, I watched 1 and 2 probably on beta, with my dad and my uncle. And then I didn't see 3. I saw 4. And loved it.
Yeah, you love the Dream Master.
Love Dream Master. Then 5 came out like the next day. So like we went and saw that. And then my cousin was like, oh, like Kristen, remember when she was in the mental hospital? And I was like, what? And so I went back, rented 3, and was just like, oh, this is like this perfect trilogy. Like, I love it. It brings back Nancy. It's just like
you could have, if they stopped making the movies, it would have been fine.
That's so funny that you saw that backwards. So you thought Patricia Arquette took over Tuesday nights.
Well, I mean, I knew that was first, but I was kind of like, oh, she's kind of better. I love Tuesday night, but I feel like there's so much melodrama in 4. And I mean, let's be real. Patricia Arquette is not exactly like winning any like major awards for this performance. It's a lot of screaming.
Yes, the screaming.
So much
my dad would
screaming.
get so mad. He was like, "Turn that off."
Yeah.
We love Tuesday. We love Patricia. Like they play the characters different, and I think
Very
it works.
different.
In 3, she just seems so much more soft spoken, kind of quiet, always screaming. In 4, she's kind of more cool and like takes things into her own hands. She's smoking. She's got her boy. Like it's like she's obviously a little bit more edgy and stuff. So. I can't believe that you saw them out of order like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was just at the time I didn't see them in the theater. Like I don't think my parents were really going to take me to see a Nightmare movie, so I had to.
Did you see any of them in the theater?
For VHS.
What about like Freddy's Dead or something?
No, not on first. Not
Freddy's
on first
Dead
run.
was the first one I saw in the theater.
I saw 4 and 5 because I'm old.
Work. I mean, I'm your age, but I still didn't get
Oh, you're my 45?
Yeah, I'm about to be 45 in a few months.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Not months, weeks, a few weeks. Yeah.
Wait, your birthday's in November?
Yeah, Thanksgiving, baby.
Oh, my
Like
birthday's
that
November
weekend.
6th.
Oh, okay.
Your
yeah.
birthday's on Turkey Day?
It is
It
every
can be.
couple of years,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It can be. It can be.
Matt's eating
Candy.
kale.
Turkey Day moves.
There you go. Do any of you know what the circumstances were that Patricia Arquette did not come back for the 4th movie? Has she
Yes.
ever gone on the record saying why she didn't take it?
Yes, I can answer that twofold. One, what I've read in interviews, and like two, what Tuesday Night told us on the podcast. Like, I think there was a lot of miscommunications in the Never Sleep Again documentary. Like, some
Right.
people thought she wasn't paid enough or she didn't want to. I think she went on record. There's two like stories. One is that she was pregnant at the time when they were filming, and so it didn't make
She'd
sense.
been a young mom.
And secondly, she was moving on to like different roles and stuff, and thought maybe she should, like the usual thoughts of like, do I want to continue doing horror? Do I want to revisit this? I already did a good one. The cool thing is that she looks back on the series with totally like great memories. I mean, like when you think about it, her whole family has been involved in horror, like David Arquette with the Scream series.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, but I think it was either a combination. I mean, again, there's all the different things, but the last thing I read that she said was that she was kind of moving on to other roles, and the timing just didn't work out.
She wanted to. Oh, never mind.
We're leaving that in.
Now, is she the only Oscar-winning actor to have
In a
been
Freddy franchise?
in a Freddy movie? I think she
John
might be.
Saxon win anything?
No.
Was John Saxon ever
Oh,
nominated?
he won the sexy
I mean,
award?
Nancy's mom was nominated for Nashville.
Oh.
And I think that was kind of a big
Ronnie
get.
Ronnie
Blakely.
Ronnie Blakely, yeah.
Yeah, did she win or
I've
just
got
nominated?
something better.
No, she was just nominated.
I've got something better.
I've got something better. What are these dreams anyway? Smoking a cigarette.
Best, like one of my favorite movie characters ever.
And I
love
mean,
Ronnie in that movie.
if you want to count the reboot, what's his name? Was nominated for an Oscar, wasn't he? Or was he very close to it? The second Freddy.
Kellen Lutz.
Kellen Lutz.
I was going to say,
Maya Rooney?
it's definitely not Thomas Dekker. Who is it? Oh, Rooney Mara.
Who was Freddy in the Nightmare?
Oh, Jack
Earl
Haley.
Haley.
So there's some Oscar-nominated
Yeah,
actors,
Jack
kind
Earl
of like
Haley.
Johnny. But I
Yeah.
think that Patricia Arquette's the only winner, though.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Yeah. Which is, love it. I mean, the whole thing with 2, like, Tim, I agree with you. I thought the through line of the house in part 2
Very interesting.
To me as a little kid, I was like, oh, that's cool. He's moving into Nancy's bedroom. He's got the diary. Like,
And it's something that they sort of keep up in all of the movies is using this house.
Then it gets
too.
a little muddy with the house.
Yeah.
It's his home.
It's his home. Is it his home?
Was part 3, the house was only used in dream sequences,
Dreams,
not
yeah.
no one lived there.
They don't go back until 4, and it's like all broken down and decrepit.
I think what bothered me about part 2 at the time, and of course I've watched it with new eyes as an adult, but like, is that I get it, the founder diary, and so there's the connection to Nancy, but like the kind of him trying to almost take on the body of Jesse just seemed very different than the first one, and then the third one to me felt like a return to form with,
Absolutely.
that objective of just going after the Elm Street Kids. I was like, okay, because that's what I had always thought. The first one was, it was simple. Like, I always like it when it's simple. It's like, the parents killed him, he's coming back to kill the kids in their dreams. Second one, like, it was just a little
It's
bit
still
more
pretty-
convoluted.
you
And
think
It's
the
almost
third
like
one-
I think
the
it's-
second one's almost like a studio note. Like Freddy's going to break into the real world. Like,
Yeah,
that's
sorta
what
like
we're
that.
going to write the movie about.
That pool scene.
Oh,
Yep.
boy. Oh, boy. But, I mean, I love 3. I mean, we should kind of give a quick, like, synopsis of, the storyline of 3. We won't go through it beat by beat, but just essentially these are, and I think throughout the entire franchise, the kids at Springwood mental asylum.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Or it's just like mental,
It's like Saint
local
Saint
mental
somebody. It's
asylum.
like Saint somebody's
every
hospital.
town-
By the way,
Every
it's
town has
filmed
a
at
mental
UCLA.
Yeah.
Is it UCLA? Yeah, it looks like it. I was going to say either that or USC. I think that this is kind of canon that these are the actual final last Elm Street Kids. And because in part 4 they talk about how Freddy's kind of like he needs new kids because he killed
Now,
all the...
was it specifically families from the block of Elm Street?
Or just the parents that rounded him up and killed
Burned them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Burned them all up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they all lived on that street, then they would all know each other.
Yeah, I guess
right?
I guess that wouldn't make sense.
It's a really long street.
It's it's more of an avenue or a boulevard.
Elm
thoroughfare.
Boulevard.
A cul-de-sac.
You said sack.
I did.
But these kids have been so tormented by Freddy that they've all are, there's like self-harm going on. There's been suicide attempts. And, do hospitals like this have to exist in some form nowadays? But this seems more like an old-fashioned asylum.
Yeah.
Right?
And I just love the fact that none of them, until Nancy gets there, listen to what the kids are saying. Like, none of them are actually taking the time to think, wow, the fact that all of these kids are dreaming about the same murderer. Yeah. Like, nobody cares that they all have shared the same dream. That, I just love these movies when they don't take anything that people say seriously. It's like, that's a really weird coincidence if a ton of people are dreaming the exact same villain.
This film takes forever for anyone to say, like, it's Freddy Krueger. Like, they're all just saying, like, we've got dreams, like mental illness. Like, I'm like, come on.
Like, Dr. Elizabeth Sims isn't putting together the pieces when listening to all of these kids talk about who they're having dreams about. I'm obsessed with this doctor, by the way.
I think Carrie's mom? I'm sorry, not Carrie, but Sue Snell's mom.
Sue Snell's mom, yeah.
Oh, that's...
Priscilla Pointer.
Is she the one that, when she goes over to the house... door to door.
Yeah, she gives her $10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she has like a drink in her hand. I'll drink to that. Did not know that. Well, anyways, Priscilla Pointer, one of my favorite performances in the movie. I think she's so good in this role.
Cold blue.
Cold blue.
She says,
yeah, and her and Ted Wasson, or Greg Wasson, what's his most famous movie? Body Double.
Yeah.
Neil Gordon.
Dr. Neil Gordon.
That's right. Like, between the two of them, they don't really help these kids at all.
No, nobody cares until Nancy gets there. They're the worst, like, most uncompassionate. Is it incompassionate?
Listen, I'm only
discompassionate. I don't know.
Discombobulated.
But Nancy comes in with her scripts for, like, let's get some, like, un-FDA approved Hypnosil. Like, come on, we need some experimental drugs in here. We're going to stop these dreams, and they're dead in their tracks.
Well, that's the only reason, because watching this, I'm always wondering, like, well, why isn't Nancy still dreaming about Freddy? Like, why is she not getting...
She's on that shit.
She's on Hypnosil. And, they brought Hypnosil back in Freddy's...
Is it a real drug?
No.
Freddy versus Jason, no. But Freddy versus Jason, remember they had the Hypnosil they were giving. That's why the kids stopped dreaming. Hey, continuity counts.
You know what?
So speaking of Freddy versus Jason, at your Halloween party, I think pre-pandemic, I remember talking to this girl at the party and just being like, this bitch really looks like Monica Keena from Freddy versus Jason. And then she introduced herself. Hi, I'm Monica. I'm like, this bitch is Monica Keena from...
she may be there this year for the party.
Love it.
Is
she a neighbor of yours?
So my friend Steven, she's like one of his really close friends. But through Steven, like, she's come to a couple of the parties. We had her on the podcast. We interviewed her. Fun. And then, like, so she always has an invite. So we don't talk directly.
Sure.
Yeah,
I call her every day.
You're like, hey, Monica.
I was like, is Jason still after you?
I mean, we, of course, like, we were as shook as you guys, like, the first time we met her because, she's the final girl in Freddy versus Jason. It's awesome.
By the way, next year's the 20th anniversary of Freddy vs. Jason.
I can't even wrap my mind around that.
Wow.
But she was very sweet. Anyways.
2 words. Yep. Kelly Rowland.
Right.
I mean, Kelly Rowland, 3 words. So I also love, like you said, Craig Wasson as Dr. Neil Gordon in this movie, who is not Bill Maher.
It's very much a Bill Maher type, though.
But he's a Bill Maher type. And let me tell you this. He is in a movie called Ghost Story.
Yeah, he shows
sure.
Wait,
and I was going to say, you see his penis.
You see his penis?
Yes.
I remember the guy that falls out the
penis?
window.
That's him.
There's a guy. Oh, that's him.
That's him.
Wait,
Because
how do you? In what context? Explain.
falling out of a window.
yeah, he plays twins, and that's the thing. At the beginning of the movie, one brother dies, and then he's the main brother in the rest of the movie. That like
But
all the
question,
ghosty
when
stuff
he
is happening.
When he
It's-
falls out of the window, does the penis
It's
flop?
cute.
a lot
Yes,
on the-
because he's
cold
falling
night.
backwards, and it's full naked Craig Wasson, Doctor.
and it's going blang 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 blang
yes,
blang blang
Doctor
blang.
Neil
I didn't-
Gordon's weenie is just flopping in the wind.
Yeah.
Tim is wiener.
I saw it with my parents.
Oh my god! It's like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Love it.
But that movie's a little boring.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Good to know that it's the first 5 minutes, so you can
Yeah.
just
Get it out of the way.
get it out of the way,
And then you're done.
Maybe check out later.
Yeah. Back to Nightmare.
And I have
3.
to ask you guys this question. Did you guys think there was some kind of love waves between the Doctor and Nancy?
Dr.
little
Neil
bit.
Gordon and Nancy Thompson.
I think they had some
Yeah.
chemistry.
Yeah. They went out to dinner, like, I think
They
so.
had dinner by the fire.
Dinner by the fire in Nancy's cool apartments.
It is weird though that because if he's a doctor and she's a grad student,
Yes.
like they probably
Agreed.
shouldn't have that
Agreed.
relationship.
Conflict of interest. This is not. Yeah.
They're
So-
both of age.
So
Fine.
let's talk about this. Nancy Thompson shows up giving like full I think she's coming straight from the Ronnie Blakely School of Acting in this movie.
Straight from the Ronnie Blakely School of Acting, she has her career woman hair, her Bonnie Raitt, her Bonnie
little
Raitt curls,
silver streak
her
from
silver
the first
streak.
movie. But okay, so the thing is, in this movie, they refer to her as hotshot grad student.
So they do comment on her age that she is very young.
They comment on her age, and then later on, there is a line where she says something to the effect of the events in the first movie that happened to her happened 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well,
it's
I will
technically set
say-
in 1990.
That would place
Yeah,
this
but
movie
that
in
that
1990.
does make sense because I was first doing the math in my head, and it's like if it's only 3 years since the first one, and let's say she was a senior in high school,
How
she'd
the hell
still be
could
in
she go to
college.
grad
She wouldn't
school?
be a
Yeah.
yeah,
She'd be
you
an
don't go to
undergrad.
grad school that quickly. So I guess they had to do that, or she'd be a college
And
student.
she's got
Yeah.
a cute little pearls on,
The pearl,
yeah.
yeah.
a jacket with shoulder pads.
Shoulder
I know
pads,
they
the
totally
long
had to make
skirt.
her look older.
Yeah, her skirt when she's wearing the business suit is mid calf.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh.
above the knee. It's a mid calf business skirt. It's crazy.
Burn it.
I
Burn
think she
it.
looks best in the pink sweater.
I mean,
Yeah. But that's kind of her off duty, right? When she's
Right, like
yeah.
when she's at her
casual
house.
wear.
yeah. I mean, I think she looks best at the cemetery.
Oh my
well,
gosh,
she
that
came with the
dynasty
hat.
look.
The hat, the wrap, the dramatic wrap. Oh my god.
How's she paying for these outfits? Because
I
her
mean-
dad and her are estranged, unless her mom left her a lot of money.
Hypnosol really sells on the off
Maybe,
market.
maybe she's
Sure,
doing
maybe
some
she's an investor.
some pharmaceutical sales on the side. Those people make really good scratch and in commissions.
Freddy interviews.
She also has a very dramatic entrance when she comes in, and I actually like it. Her the first time you see her, she finishes the rhyme for Kristen.
Yeah.
Never sleep again. Where did you hear that?
She goes, I'm going to hug you like you're my
I
daughter.
know. She goes in and hugs her. They've never met. Never met.
They have that connection, though.
They
Yeah,
do,
and-
because they know rhymes.
They know
Did
there's
you
some
know
Well, but
rhymes.
remember, they take it to the next level in this one because Kristen has a power that Nancy never did. She
Oh,
can
that's
pull
right.
people into her dreams.
Without that skill, the movie would be different.
No-
I
yeah, it
mean,
would-
I love that this sets up that Kristen has this power.
Well, yeah, because she gives it to Alice.
She
right?
gives it to Alice in the next movie. I love that this sets up in their dreams. They all have their little superpower, which Kristen's is basic gymnastics.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, she does
Somersaults.
And Taryn is leather and big hair.
Yeah, she's bad.
A
and
mohawk.
She's beautiful and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but remember, Kincaid is just really strong.
Really strong,
Like, I mean, they're not that. Like, why aren't they flying or
Yeah,
something really
yeah.
cool? 'Cause
What's Joey's horniness?
Joey's is
he never gets to that.
horniness, but then he has he's like banshee. He screams and
Oh, that's right.
his
He can talk.
because he's voluntarily mute in the real world. He's got his X-Men power is the banshee scream, and it
I love
breaks
that
all the
voluntarily
mirrors.
mute. You know, I
Well-
just don't feel like talking.
And Jennifer's skill is she wants to be a movie star.
Isn't she dead
never
by the
gets
time
this-
they?
Oh, yeah. She kind of misses out on all of the superpowers.
Yeah, because
She's a get one.
She and I can't even remember the first guy's name that gets killed.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
into puppets.
The puppet guy.
What's his name?
Philip, yeah.
Philip and Jennifer get killed before they get
So
to have
quick.
those powers.
Yeah. Jennifer's power is like the pole vault into the television.
Her
Okay,
face.
I'm sorry, and I said this to Tim because we rewatched it, and I was just like, every time I watch this, I can't shake the feeling that Jennifer looks like Patricia Arquette. Like, they're very similar with their blonde hair
The styling,
and their
yeah.
faces. Like, it's just weird from a casting standpoint. All the rest of the characters look so different, but then they cast two young, blonde, like shoulder-length hair girl. I don't know. They just seem very similar.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but I can total differentiate it.
I mean, yeah, not all blondes look, of course, alike, but it's like, of all the different looks in the world, like, they had to get another blonde girl.
But what are they going to do? Make her have red hair?
Well, the other thing
they made
too
Alice have red hair.
the other thing too is that they put both of them in like nightgowns the entire time, so they're wearing like white, bedclothes through the entire. So it's also hard to differentiate style wise. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That sometimes some of us can get some blonde white girl facial blindness. But,
I don't know. I think Patty Arquette has a very distinctive face. I'm with you, Tim. I have no
Patty Arquette.
I have no problems with
she's
it.
Patty to us. So we kind of talked a little bit about the kids that are here at the St. Springwood, mental facility. And I remember my cousin telling me about Philip's death with the marionette of his ligaments.
Ooh.
Oh boy. And then first seeing it and just being like, holy crap. As a kid, I always did think that Philip was very cute.
He's very cute.
I like this boy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm into Joey. I think Rodney Eastman was very cute.
You can
cute.
probably guess who my type is.
Kincaid.
No.
Jennifer?
Yes, it's Jennifer. I think Will is kind of really cute. Ira,
little wizard,
the
Will?
wizard master,
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
He does have a good moment when he takes off his glasses. It's kind of a Superman look.
Yeah,
He looks like a little kid that should be babysat.
Well,
and
that too.
Yeah.
his dream power is the one that's the most super powery.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, but Freddy's just like, come on. With
I
this
love
power.
when he just picks him up. Sorry, I know we're jumping, but
No,
just
it's
like,
okay.
oh, really? You're a wizard? Done.
You're done.
This movie was just like, no, we're not going to call it Dungeons and Dragons because this is like a really popular game in 1986.
Oh,
so-
sure. They never say D&D.
No, it's like Wizards and
They didn't want to pay for that
Warriors or
trademark,
whatever,
I guess.
Oh, yeah, because they would have to pay.
I think Philip and Jennifer's death scenes are the two most memorable death scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I love Taryn, but I think that scene is so quick.
So quick.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that fast. She just shows, Well, let's talk a little bit about Zsa Zsa.
Oh, yeah. They get top billing. As a kid, when I got the box, it says all these names. It says Zsa Zsa Gabor, Dick
Dick
Cavett.
Cavett.
I'm
Princess
there
Zsa Zsa.
for 30
cameo.
seconds.
Yeah, just names. I will say this. The funniest thing, other than the classic line, welcome to primetime, bitch, which,
Yeah.
of course, is amazing. The funniest part about that death scene is the aftermath and them thinking that she committed suicide.
That's what we were talking about.
By, I guess, rising up or standing on a chair and shoving her head into a TV, because that's a way people kill themselves.
I mean, if I was going to.
That's really
Be a hell of a way to go.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say this: those old cathode ray tube TVs, that glass was 2 inches thick, and it would pop
for her to,
because it's a vacuum tube. You can't just shove your face through there. But but Scott was saying, well, what are they going to say? When the cops get there, or the whatever, they're just oh yeah, she killed.
She ran and jumped her face
Well,
into
at
the
least
screen.
maybe they would suspect that someone
Somebody
murdered her,
in
someone
the
shoved her
institution
head
did
into
it.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not Freddy maybe, but someone could
the
have done it.
dirtbag pedophile orderly that tries to get with poor Taryn. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's a dirty
blackmails
scene.
her with the drugs.
It's
yeah,
awful, and she's like, "Oh, if you don't leave, I'm gonna go tell Larry Fishburne." It's go tell him anyway. Just go tell Lawrence Fishburne. He'll knock this guy out. By the way,
Did you guys
Lawrence
think-
Fishburne is in this movie.
Oh yeah. Did you guys think when I think Kristen's first dream, when she gets like she's walking on that like rug and all of a sudden it looks like
the big Freddy snake dick, yeah.
Oh, you mean the snake head that swallows her? Yeah, well, that's a classic scene too. But that's the first time he sees Nancy.
Like, everyone thinks it's like a penis, but I never thought that.
I never thought that watching it. As
I never
child,
thought it either.
I mean,
think
it's
that
gross.
You're just making that up.
Why would I make that up?
Because you thought it was a penis.
No. People talk about saying it's a phallic symbol.
No. I was just amazed as a kid because, like, it really looks like Freddy. And, like, you can tell it's there. You could tell it's big, like the scale. She fits inside of its, like, disgusting face. But it's as a kid, I was just like, wow, they really made that look like Freddy. That's crazy. It's, like, very successful in what they were trying to do. But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have, like, a dick vein or anything. It just has, like, all Freddy scary
and also
face.
It's opening and swallowing her up, and unless your
like
dick is swallowing things up.
Well, I don't even know.
The way weenies do.
Yeah, they open and swallow things
and
up.
that's Nancy's best hairstyle.
Oh.
I'm kidding, but she looks super cute in that scene.
So when this is the first time that we see that Kristen can pull someone into a dream, she's like, Nancy, and Nancy falls into the chair, which is to this day a great effect.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nancy falls
Very
into the
successful.
chair. And she finds herself there, and she's just like, oh, I must be in Kristen's dream, in which she just pulled me into. So yeah,
and I'm in my old house.
Let's go like make this work. She just immediately gets it, immediately knows what's going on. She's just like, oh, Kristen, it's a dream. She's
been through this before.
But
well, yeah, and remember, Kristen recited the rhyme, so she knows that they are dreaming Freddy.
Stabs Freddy in the eye.
She gets to work immediately. She's like, oh, broken glass. Freddy.
Oh, yeah, waste no time.
Been here, done that. Where's my bomb that I made out of
Where's Johnny Depp?
a desk lamp and yeah.
Johnny Depp they're still cleaning up the ceiling from that mess.
Oh man, yeah. They just got to.
You mean Amber Heard's mess? What?
Oh,
hey,
whoa, zing.
Yeah, and then the next day when she's talking to her or whatever, she's just like, like you have this power to like pull people into dreams. Yeah, what? Nancy does not question. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny that Nancy's just like, sure.
I mean, at this point,
that exists.
Anything's possible.
Well, I guess when it comes to Nancy, since she's been through so much, she probably has just stopped questioning reality.
She did pull Freddy out of her dream into the real world.
Yeah,
so
I
guess this is just
interesting that never comes into
Tuesday.
play in this one. Like they never want to try that as a way to kill him,
sure.
which would be to me a more proven way of killing him. Like that's what she did last time, or maybe she's like, I guess it didn't work. So because again, this one is all about let's combine our dream powers to get him. Like this is such a different movie than the first one. It's all about like banding together with your dream brothers and sisters.
We're a team.
Yeah.
And they're all a bunch of weirdos. You know, like it's that thing for like teenagers and like kids. Like, yeah, we're all outcast and weird in some kind of a way. So it's like it gave like kids something to latch
They could have had a
onto.
gay
But
kid.
also,
Where was the gay character?
It was 1987.
Joey. Oh no, Joey's clearly not gay. Joey's very.
They already
straight.
killed the gay kid in the movie
last
before.
movie.
Oh yeah.
Nancy does mention at some point that he's strong. That Freddy's stronger. That he's never been this strong.
Because there's so many of them screaming, and doesn't he feed on their fear?
Oh, because he has so many souls.
guess.
He's killed so many at this point, and he develops their powers. Like he, I don't know. I guess he absorbs their souls.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that's why, like, we don't, that's why she doesn't want to like pull him into the real world or whatever. But this movie was also cool for me as a kid because it had a lot of like, it did have really cool like. I don't know, like fun elements, like all of their powers in the dreams. Like, I don't know, I guess to kids, like basic gymnastics is pretty impressive.
Which power did you want as a kid?
All of them. To be beautiful and bad.
In my dream, I'm
You didn't want to be the Wizard Master?
The Wizard Master would be cool. That cape did not fit him though; it was a little too big.
So then, what was Nancy's superpower?
Being cute.
No, like
Yeah,
really, and like
good
the
hair.
doctor didn't have a superpower either when they were.
I guess Nancy doesn't get a superpower. I wonder why that is.
Maybe you only get a superpower if you're like a
Teenager.
Yeah, troubled teen.
Right. Once you're an adult,
Because,
it's
I don't
over.
know.
But I mean,
Yeah.
well, I guess Nancy grad student, so she's like 22 maybe or 23.
Her skill is to make that old guy believe.
Yeah, that's true. And then remember, don't forget they have the whole side subplot of the backstory of Amanda Kruger and the doctor seeing her as a nun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And her disappearing at the graveyard.
Because she was never, it's just her spirit, I guess. But it's like, I thought that was interesting because, you know, obviously there's the backstory of Freddy and what he did and how he was a child murderer. But then you think like, it's almost like they wanted to put another layer of evil on him. Like, not only was he a killer, he came from like a horrible gang rape of a poor
Son
nun.
of 100 maniacs.
Yeah, so
Which is like, this is now a through line in the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Is the
They
whole
go back to all of
Son of
that
100
later.
maniacs and Amanda being, you know, locked
They go
in
back
the
to that
prison
in
and all that.
the kid movie, right?
I mean, they go back to it in
Dream Child, yeah.
So is that where the band 10,000 Maniacs got their name from?
I think so. Mm-hmm. We'll have to ask Natalie
Ask
Merchant.
Natalie Merchant.
Yeah.
She's like, I really like this Freddy Krueger movie.
Because
I think they
the
predate.
Belong to lovers.
So, Scott, am I wrong? Is it Frida Claxton as the nun?
I think it is Frida Claxton from the Golden Girls.
What?
Oh, she a guest star?
You remember the Frida
Here,
Claxton
let me-
episode?
I have to double check this.
Wait,
It is, trust me.
Nan Martin as Sister Mary Helena.
She is in an episode of The Golden Girls. She plays Frida Claxton. She is a grumpy neighbor that wants to tear
cut down that
a
tree.
Oh.
Yep, Frida Claxton. She's actually in 2 episodes of The Golden Girls,
Yeah.
playing 2 different old ladies, and Frida Claxton is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Rose finally tells her off in court, and she drops dead. And Rose thinks she killed her.
I wonder if on the set they talked about Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
I think she did. She's like, hey,
I think so.
She
Yeah.
play Amanda Kruger and Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Did you guys know this fun fact? The lady that like on all the posters of Night of the Demons is Blanche's niece in real life, Rue McClanahan.
Oh, we just watched that episode where she comes in the town and she is fucking the guy that's the vice
do you mean
cop.
Blanche's niece, or do you mean Rue McClanahan's
Rue
niece?
McClanahan's real life niece.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I was watching the one
Apparently,
with her
she
niece on the
visited
show.
the set of Night of the Demons back in '88. Fun fact.
Interesting. And they put
I
her
think
on the-
I've seen
and they
those
put her on the
photos.
They're
poster.
really, it's so
Interesting.
cool. I love it.
The cemetery where we do initially see. Wait, is the nun supposed to be Amanda Kruger, or is she just like some ghostly?
No,
deceased?
she's supposed to be because she finds it at the end
Okay.
that Amanda
The
Kruger
grave.
was
Yeah.
Sister Mary Helena or something. That was
Clarence.
Sister Mary Clarence.
But
yeah.
obviously, it's,
Sister Mary Clarence.
they replaced her in 1989 with a different actress.
Yeah.
A younger actress
young.
in Dream
Right.
Child. It's
I
like
guess it was
from the time
Different
of
stages of Amanda Kruger.
Yes.
as well.
Different stages
But
of American
different
Kruger.
stroke.
But this is the same shooting location as the first
It's
movie.
the cemetery from Nightmare
The
One.
cemetery from Nightmare 1 where Ronnie's at the car saying, I got something
I got
better.
something better. That close up.
It's in Boyle Heights. We can go right now. We'll meet you guys there in about 45
Oh,
minutes.
cool. Okay, see ya.
Pause. And we're back.
This cemetery's old, though. It's like an old East LA cemetery.
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
And it's full. We were there once and we saw a limping coyote.
We did.
A limping coyote?
Yeah.
Just running around.
Because it's in the middle of Boyle Heights. It's like, it's big and it's a big, vast cemetery. So it's like, oh, coyote. But then at the same time, it's like, once you leave the grounds, it's like,
Oh, but
City.
I think that was Calgary.
oh, yeah, but it's right across the street.
But yeah,
Maybe-
just down the freeway.
Maybe that was Amanda Kruger in another form.
Ooh,
I think
like
so.
it. That's her X-Men power. She can turn
A
into
limping coyote. That's the power I'd want.
That's the title of my book.
A limping coyote.
Limping coyote. That was my nickname in high school. So,
Limping coyote.
so I don't know if this is the first time there's like, maybe it is, where Freddy kind of uses like a sexy woman as a decoy.
Yeah.
Oh.
This movie was probably
Oh, boy.
a lot of young men's first
Time seeing boobs.
glimpses at.
Do you see those?
boobs.
Do you see those
Oh,
movies?
yeah,
you
you
see
say-
full.
Oh,
full
yeah.
neck?
They're really nice boobs. I mean, I'm saying that as a...
And those are some
They
like,
are,
and those
yeah.
are some like penthouse movies too.
They give her so much dialogue. Do you like my body, Joey? There's so much dialogue.
I just
I'm
like
well, Joey's a mute, so there's no back and forth,
like
so it's all got to be her.
Turns into Freddy and she's like, ow, 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 with her tongue and shooting tongue bullets at him to like.
The way he grabs the tongue that's sticking out.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 because there's lots of tongue action in that one too.
True.
Now, which one has which one has drag Freddy as a nurse? Is that 4?
4, yeah.
Okay.
And 4 also has Joey being seduced by a booby
that's his
lady
weakness.
under the water
Women.
bed. Yeah.
But she doesn't get any lines. She just gets to swim.
Yeah. She gets her like little poster and then just like swimming topless.
But what did you guys think of Kristen's mom? Ándale!
She just wants
We
some
love
attention.
Kristen's mom.
I've got a
Brooke
guest, Kristen.
Bundy.
I don't care about you.
Take away her credit card.
I love that like Kristen's like, you brought a man here? And she's like, yeah, I did. What are you going to do about it?
I know. It's shit.
Go
like,
to bed.
By the way, every parent, other than, well, even Nancy's parents in a way, like every parent in these movies, not only do they never believe their kids, but like they're the most, like
Passive.
like no, just like unempathetic, like uncaring, insensitive. They don't care. Like even Tina's mom in the beginning of the original, when she's like, you better cut your nails, you better stop that kind of dreaming. Okay, mom, thanks for the advice.
Yeah, like go to bed. You're drinking too much Diet Coke and making a creepy house.
Yeah, like the parents are horrible, but remember these are also the parents that hunted him down and lit him on fire. So,
This is true.
Just kind of a big theme throughout all the movies, not really trusting adults or adults not listening, adults knowing information that they are not sharing with the rest of the class.
Brooke Bundy does have Kristen get into bed with full paper mache hands.
Right.
Oh, she does.
She's like, I know you literally have glue all over your fingers, cornstarch and water, and you were making a paper mache house and drinking spoonfuls of Folgers crystals.
Oof, God, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Washing it down with
Get in
some
bed.
DC.
I was Diet Coke. Thanks.
Some DC. I was like, what?
As a kid, though, like seeing Nancy pull out her secret coffee pot and then in her bedroom, and then seeing Kristen drink or eat like the spoonful of Folgers crystals and wash it down with some DC. Pardon me. I always thought like very grown up.
Yeah. But were you guys
Coffee.
confused by when Freddy took Kristen's hand and made it look like she slit her wrists? Like as a kid, I didn't know what was going on.
Well, because that was the other thing. I figured, okay, maybe in this time around, he is making these kids' deaths look more like suicides.
Well, and it's funny you say that. I mean, this is just on like Wikipedia and in like Never Sleep Again. But apparently, like as you said, Wes Craven, who co-wrote the script, but it was more. I think he had written the first full draft, and then they made a lot of changes. But apparently, like the original plot line he was making like all of the kids were committing suicide. Like I think he was getting in their heads so much that they were committing suicide, and they thought that was just way too dark a route to go. But they kept like bits from
a couple
it.
of them,
and so that first one with her making it look like she's committing suicide, like that's kind of from his original idea. I think that's what I would get.
Because in the first few movies, it's like whatever gory way Freddy killed you in the dream, that's just how people found you, But in this one, she's got like the sink claws or whatever, but then really Brooke Bundy wakes her up and she's just like, oh no, I saw
And Philip, he jumps. It looks like he jumped off. Like that was one that obviously they could explain away as a suicide. Obviously, the one with Jennifer sticking her head into the TV, not so much.
Yeah, explainable.
Not
Hey,
so much.
where's the bourbon?
And then by the time he gets around to like Taryn and the Wishmaster, it's like okay.
And I always think like, what is Taryn? So he OD'd Taryn is how he killed her. Too much drugs.
Yeah,
and he just stabbed Will.
Yeah, but he keeps around Kenny. Kenny Sagos. I called him Kincaid.
Oh, Kenny. Kincaid and
Kincaid,
Joey.
Kincaid,
and it is cool. You know what I will? And I know we're skipping, but like. I do think it's cool that there was more than one survivor in this, just because, like, you're not expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them were probably pretty disappointed when they were reading their script for the Dream Master, and they are gone after page 20 of that script.
I mean, it's just such a, we've talked about this on our podcast a lot before, like how shitty it is to, you have people that you like, really are invested in a horror movie. They bring them back for the sequel and kill them off in the first scene or the beginning. And they do the same thing to Danny Hassel in part 5. He makes it through all of part 4 and then dies the first person dead at part 5. Same with Alice in Friday the 13th part 2. I mean, it's just like it.
Well, I mean, wasn't Scream kind of the first franchise that just kept all of its main actors?
Like throughout?
Really? When you think about it, throughout?
It definitely lasted longer.
I mean, at least 3 of them lasted a long time, so that is pretty good. I mean, they killed Randy in the sequel, who had survived.
Who cares?
But
Yeah.
I loved Randy.
Who
But
cares?
yeah, I mean, I can't think of another series that kept 3 people alive. But then Dewey, like, that's almost like a fake out. Like, how many times did he almost die? So it's almost like you can almost kill someone at the very end, say, oh, wait, they didn't die.
Test
so many
audience
times.
wanted more Dewey.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah, they were
Bring
like, Tim,
back
what do you want? And I was
Dewey.
like, Dewey.
Dewey, more Dewey.
Yeah.
You had your little keypad that you kept pressing, like the Dewey
more
button.
Dewey, more
kept
Dewey.
going
Yeah.
Dewey. So, and I will have to say, in part 4, when Rodney Eastman is brought back as Joey, he's a lot more like cooler looking.
Yeah.
Joey in this movie's got like the short hair, his like polo shirts tucked in to his jeans, a little bit more square. In part 4, like Joey's like cool. He's got like his cool like fashion mullet.
Well, because
like,
it's been some time.
Youths
They're
are
going
cute.
They're going to public schools. They're over
Youths are
Freddy.
very
They're
cute.
living
They're
their
mysterious.
lives.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rodney Eastman, I think that we talked about this on our Dream Master episode, but have you seen
His nudie
the
pictures?
naked modeling shots of him?
No, send them
Oh,
to
hop
us.
on Google and look at those.
Wait, you said Rodney Eastman did it for what?
I
don't know.
I think
It's
they
just
were
online,
I think they were
yeah.
just modeling shots.
He was on an episode of Melrose Place. He attacked Amanda.
Really?
No, not Amanda.
Wait, Joey's the mute, right?
Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
his real name?
Rodney.
Rodney.
Okay,
Eastman.
yes. He was on Melrose Place. He attacked Amanda. Oh my God, we're seeing him naked
We're
right
looking
now.
at his naked modeling shots now. Wow, he looks great.
I'm
They're tasteful. They're
Yeah,
tasteful
they're good.
nudes.
He's like on his knees with really long hair.
I'm impressed with everything I'm seeing.
Wow,
See?
what was he in though? Like that they did this.
Tough times.
I don't know. Hard to. Yeah, he was in debt. You know.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think that these are like Greg Gorman shots.
No.
Wow.
Wow, Rodney Eastman. Okay, doing some naked
better work,
modeling.
Rodney.
Look, there he is, Tim.
I know. We just.
I mean,
Oh, that one's hilarious.
No, where it's like when you pull someone
Sorry,
up and
we're literally.
looking at it right now.
yeah,
but
we're sorry. We're Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Rodney Eastman naked. Yeah,
I mean, all of these actors, all of these kids in the asylum, but I feel like all of them have just made a career now of just signing headshots now of one of their lines of this movie. Welcome to Primetime, bitch. In my dream, I'm bad.
Yeah.
But just like all of them just have that single line that they can just put on
You know,
all of their
they
headshots
do
now.
reunions
Hey,
all
man.
the time.
Yeah.
I mean, but all of the Nightmare
But
casts.
you
like
figure every 5 years a
all
new
of them.
generation is discovering them, and we're talking about it. How many years ago? Oh, pushing 40.
Yeah.
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 So
And I mean, I think the con circuit is like, hey man, it's nice work if you can get it.
It's
like
probably paying
just traveling the country and just like doing cons. That would be great. I would love to do.
I mean, it's
Me
probably
too.
paying Penelope Sutros like rent.
I would.
Yeah,
I
she's
do-
probably
I'd
made a
gladly do it.
whole career out of it.
And I do love seeing like, Lisa Wilcox post a picture and it's just like
All of them.
everybody from all the movies, including Brooke and like both Brooks, Brooke Bundy and Brooke Thies, and like just everybody in these like group photos, and you're just like, that's kind of awesome that like all these years later they can go to these events and these functions and just like, I mean, I hope they have lines. I hope people are going and buying the headshots and
Oh,
doing
I
the
think
meet and
people
greets,
are because I think if they
I
went
think so.
to a ton of these and just weren't making money, like it wouldn't be
Yeah.
worth their
They just-
while.
and I think they've been doing them
Yeah.
for what, 20 years now?
I mean, there's always an anniversary of one of them, but like
Yeah.
because since the movies
Right.
came out from '84 to Freddy vs. 2003,
Well, there was a gap. I mean, like 94
'84 to '91,
84 to 94
94, yeah.
Yeah.
When was Freddy's Dead? 94?
Freddy's Dead was 91.
That's what I thought. Okay, and between Freddy's Dead and Freddy versus Jason.
No, there was the big one, the good one, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Oh,
Nightmare.
yes,
New
Nightmare.
Nightmare,
New
yeah.
Nightmare. I keep forgetting that one.
How could you forget?
I know.
The precursor to Scream.
Yeah,
Exactly,
they're very
yeah.
similar.
May I remind you? If he wouldn't have done New Nightmare, we probably would not have.
I
So
thought you said
true.
Nude Nightmare. Is
I-
that the Rodney?
Nude
Is that the
Nightmare.
Rodney
Nude
Eastman
Nightmare.
story? Nude Nightmare.
I love that we came to a
Hey-o.
screeching halt to see his penis.
Wow, he looks good. I
He
don't know.
does. I was doing a double take.
Any excuse.
Double.
Triple.
Now,
So-
I was going to say, was New Nightmare successful?
I think it made its money back, and that's it.
Not a huge.
Not
I
hit.
thought it was
Yeah,
one of the more
It's great.
successful ones of the series, but yeah, and
Critically-
from a movie standpoint,
Critically,
it's great.
but not money wise.
Oh, I mean, from a movie standpoint, you know what? No, that was the second one I saw in the theaters because I saw Freddy's Dead. But I loved New Nightmare. Again, I mean, it was just something we had never seen. It was a little confusing. I remember as like a teenager, but yeah, now it's like that was meta before meta existed.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Before it was a term for it. Yeah, I always thought that was so great. This movie works so well because, like we were saying, when 2 came out, we were just a little bit kind of not disappointed, but we were just like, okay, it went in a new direction. But when this comes in and it brings back Nancy, our core character, sets up a bunch of characters for the next few movies, it also brought back John Saxon.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really great arc for him.
character,
it's
and
not just a cameo.
the
It's got, like, an
reintroduction to
extended
John
cameo.
Saxton in the bar, I think, is really well done.
Because he's a drunk.
Well, and he just hasn't
Yeah.
changed. Like, still not believing Nancy. Like, literally, his wife died unexplained. He saw everything at the end of part 1, and
Star gets sucked into the
still
bed.
doesn't
Yeah.
believe it. Still thinks Nancy's
Were
crazy.
you guys shocked when he got killed in part 3?
Kind of.
I think so.
I felt like I could
Yeah.
give or take when it came to him. It was Nancy that was heartbreaking for me the first
that
time I
was the
saw
one.
I
it.
might have
yeah.
cried when I was a kid. I don't know.
Or yesterday.
Yeah,
Or
I think I may
yesterday.
have. Yeah, or last time we watched it.
I sometimes often forget that she dies in this movie.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, she comes back and she saves the day at the end. But I still want to talk a little bit about John Saxon's scenes in the junkyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they consecrate Freddy's bones, but we get
So
the
this is
stop
the
motion
claymation,
skeleton Freddy fight. Oh
um,
my goodness!
Clash of the Titans bones.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, this is some...
This is our Harryhausen.
This is like some Harryhausen
This is some
realness.
Jason and the Argonauts.
So this
yeah.
is where they buried the bones, the burned bones of Fred Krueger.
and this
right.
this is where Kincaid's dog pees on the bones in the next movie.
Brings him
And
back.
Brings him back to
It
life.
starts a movie, apparently.
Kincaid's dog that has mega syphilis.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, that must hurt
The
the,
doggy
dog
clap.
to have
Yeah.
burning urine. Because
How would you even begin to film
yes.
that?
But I think it's a really cool ending for Freddy. They're just like, okay, we've got to give him a proper burial, consecrate the bones, and I love that. Mr. or Sergeant Thompson or whatever is just like, oh yeah, I know where his bones are. I got it on a Post-it.
Yeah, let's
in the
drive
back
there
of my
right
sock
now.
I
drawer.
mean, I guess because that's the only murder I would suppose he has committed. So I feel like it's the kind of thing you probably would
True,
remember.
yeah, you would,
because
yeah.
they
Yeah,
had to,
yeah.
especially him being a cop himself. He had to be able to get away with it. So I'm sure they had to make it so they didn't have the remains, right?
Oh,
Is
he
this the
knows where bodies
location
are.
from the end of, or where they go to in Freddy's Revenge? Him and his girlfriend go to that.
Maybe it's adjacent.
Adjacent.
Freddy's
to that
Revenge?
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Oh God. Yeah, because that ends in a weird Access Chemicals. Yeah,
I don't even know if that's still standing.
I
don't even know
Yeah,
what's going
that
on
place that his girlfriend Lisa, played by Kim Myers,
there.
brings in.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. That's
Yeah, I
kind of
don't know.
not.
Here's
really-
my
Well,
question.
also, are they treating? Oh, okay. Are they treating this movie like Freddy's Revenge never happened?
I think I don't think they're not acknowledging it. I just don't think they're really
They're just not aware of the events because none of them were there for it.
That's fair.
Freddy's Revenge victims
There was no Twitter.
Weren't Elm Street kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they lived there, but their parents weren't.
They were just pool party kids.
Yeah, so their parents didn't kill Freddy. It was just a random. That's why it's so weird.
We didn't have 24-hour news back then.
No, there was no. It was an 11-hour news cycle.
Wait, I have a question. If they burnt Freddy alive, I thought in his house, did they wait till he was dead, go in, get his bones, and put it in the junkyard? That's what
I was thinking too.
Because wouldn't his bones just have been where he burned?
Yeah, they had to go. Well, they also because Ronnie Blakely had the glove.
Oh yeah.
So they went in there.
So they burnt it down, then went in and took all the evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's thorough.
That's savage.
That's what cops do.
So apparently while the house, I know I'm going way too into it. While the house was burning, obviously no fire department came because...
No. He's a cop. He called up his fire department buddies and was just like, don't come.
He probably was like, hey, there's going to be
Don't
a fire
worry, we got
no
this.
Need to do anything about it. If only they had done that in Halloween Kills, Michael Myers wouldn't have gotten out.
Let him burn.
That's not the movie we're
Not
talking
my
about.
movie, baby.
We're not talking about that movie.
Not my movie, JLC.
We're talking about the Dream Warriors.
I like the setup of the house. Again, going back to the house that it's a little kind of muddy in the movies going forward. Kristen.
What exactly is the house?
Kristen refers to it as Freddy's home. I mean,
it mainly
Nancy's
just
home.
looks really good set dressed in the dream sequences.
dream world?
Put me
Yeah,
down,
the
you're
dream world.
hurting me.
Yeah.
Little girl.
little mannequin girl. Yeah.
Skeleton.
And according to IMDb, that little mannequin girl is
Julia Roberts.
Max.
Sorry.
You didn't know? It was one of her earliest entries. No, she's also plays a little poofy-haired blonde girl in part 4. She's probably the one on the beach. Is that a beach?
Is that
Is that a
her?
lake?
The same one?
Little girl. She says
yeah.
little girl to her.
Oh, that's
again.
right.
Little
It was
girl,
87, 88. Oh, yeah. So she wouldn't have grown that much.
So she wouldn't
She's
have grown
still
up.
a
Yeah,
little girl.
yeah.
Little girl.
The idea of the dream world and the house just being all disgusting and that there's that roast pig on the table.
So is the idea of the house is that you have to walk through the house. You have to walk through the house to directly get to Freddy. Is that the idea?
Or fall asleep.
Or you just wake up.
You fall asleep and then you wake up in your dream and you're in the front yard. And so you're just well, I'm here, so
I might as well go inside.
Oh, the Kardashians around.
Little girl.
and there's always little girls in First Communion dresses, just
always jumping rope.
Yeah, always jumping rope, saying that
Playing
damn
hopscotch.
rhyme.
Yep.
yeah. There's tricycles everywhere.
I like that.
The tricycles.
Yeah.
I'm I don't remember the Thompsons having this many chandeliers in this house when they lived there.
Does it exactly match the house from the first movie? The second movie definitely does not.
No, that's a very 80s. Everything in part 2 is 80s.
Yeah, yeah. But not in a woo pop colors Saved by the Bell kind of way. It's just in
basement.
A lot of
dreary
a lot
80s.
Of beiges, a lot of mustard color.
Ugh, mustard color. Ugh.
Yeah. Didn't the dad from part 2 just die recently?
Clue Goulager, right?
Clue
R.I.P.
Ghoul. Yeah. From Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Return of the Living Dead 2.
and a man that frequented the
And
New
Poltergeist.
Beverly. Yeah.
And sorry, no more.
Well, the guy from Poltergeist that just died is a different guy.
he died
Wait.
too. They're two
Wait,
guys.
That just
Clue
died. Yeah, that's a
Goulager
different dude.
And the guy that was in Night of the Living Dead and Night of the Living Dead Part 2, I don't know his name.
Oh, I was saying Return of the Living Dead is Clue.
what did
Return
I
of the
say?
Living
You
Dead.
said-
Yeah, no, but he is in. Yeah, you're right. He's in Return of the Living Dead with Clue Goulager. He's the guy that moved the graves.
Oh,
but he
okay. You're
didn't
talking about
the
I get it.
bodies.
Clue Goulager
Yeah.
is different than
We are talking about James Cairn.
Yeah.
James Cairn.
James Cairn had a hell of a career too.
Dead. Yeah.
dead, dead, locked,
As a doornail.
locked. Nancy, you are going to get some sleep if it
We're
kills
talking
you.
about Part
Kills
3.
me.
But I mean, Ronnie Blakely lives on. Okay.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
No
She
mention
really,
of
she
her.
really does.
Right.
No, well, she says her mom died in her sleep.
She does say her mom died in her sleep. Speaking of the mothers, though, because, like I said, I saw 4 first, so I remember Ándale, Ándale from her across the street honking.
Kristen!
And just like, how did she know where they were? And her just screaming the Ándale, Ándale. And then when I saw this, I was like, okay. That's her little thing.
It's her catchphrase.
That's her catchphrase.
Ándale! Good old Brooke Bundy, everyone.
That's
Brooke
right. In
Bundy.
that dress.
Yeah. Yeek.
And once again, something that Brooke Bundy can just put on a headshot. Ándale.
Yeah, just like in her little signature.
Oh,
just
and
like,
you know she's at the
love ya,
convention
Ándale.
signing Ándale.
I mean, I would do it if I
yeah,
had.
yeah.
You'd get her signature,
Yeah.
or you would sign Ándale on someone's photo.
Whichever way.
Either or both.
Is Brooke on Cameo? Maybe.
Probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they all should be if they're not
Yeah.
already. But yeah, I remember kind of putting that together for the first time, going like, "Oh, she says that. She says that in 4 when she picks up the other Kristen."
They just wait. Tim went to Son of Monster Palooza, the convention. They had
yeah.
a Nightmare 3
They
reunion.
did.
Right?
Everyone was there. Nancy wasn't
cute.
there, but they had.
Heather Langenkamp wasn't.
She was one day, but not the day I was there.
Oh
What was her big reunion recently with Jamie Lee Curtis that they just took a
no,
photo?
that was the
Yeah.
Halloween
Curtis and
Ends
Heather
premiere.
Langenkamp. What
was that for?
The Halloween Ends
Oh,
premiere.
okay. Gotcha. Oh, very sweet that they invited Heather to that.
Yeah.
And I guess she took Amanda Weiss.
Oh, great.
I love
okay. Love that. Weiss. Not sure how to say it.
Welcome to my world.
Now, also off topic, Heather is in a new Netflix series,
The Midnight Club.
The Midnight Club, and she plays a therapist for teens, and they have like a circle group therapy
That's so
session.
cool.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan show. I mean, it figures because I think that a series like Nightmare is a big inspiration for Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think that that's a real. I've been seeing
Full
little memes
circle.
of that. That it's just like her full circle moment. Yeah, with this.
We got to
kind of
lobby
thing.
Warner and New Line to greenlight a Nightmare on Elm Street.
What do you guys think about a Nightmare on Elm
new
Street kind
series.
of reboot?
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah,
requel
she just.
kind of a thing?
I'm sure you guys heard. She just like went on record because she went to the Halloween Ends premiere, and she said that she loves watching Jamie
Let's
Lee
do
Curtis
it.
return to the role, and she would love to do one more film where she fights Freddy.
But
so like,
Wes Craven's New Nightmare, in the scenes between her and Freddy were so good. I don't know if you can top it.
They were.
well, you can't. But I mean, I'm saying
Oh,
if
you
they
could.
did the Halloween approach where pretend they did a sequel to part 1 and pretended like
Oh,
none of the
and
sequels
like her
existed.
son talks to a man in the sewer.
No, not Halloween Ends.
I've got an even better idea, Matt.
No, but like, what if they've retconned every sequel and it was just her 40 years after part 1, and she's in a bunker somewhere, and she has a shotgun, and she's got a daughter and a granddaughter, and then on Halloween night,
and her daughter wants a
And
raise.
she doesn't let them sleep.
Oh wait,
Fuck college.
no, if they did it on 2020
what's-
or 2024 is the 40th anniversary, right?
I
So
don't know.
they got
it
to
would
start
be.
now. They can make it in time.
Scott's got a pitch. Let's hear
So
Scott's
here's
pitch.
my pitch. It's going to be we can keep all the sequels. It's going to be kind of a really good follow-up to Dream Warriors because Nancy is going to be in Freddy's like Dreamland, and she's going to be an old lady. Like Nancy has aged
'Cause she died?
so she's
Even though
going to
she
be
died?
because she is going to be in Freddy's like dream.
Like Nicole Kidman in Aquaman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that she's going like they're going to pull themselves into the dream, and Nancy's going to be there as an old lady.
she's gonna be the Malaysian Dream
her doll.
doll. Yeah, just like guiding them through.
I want
like
one.
I'm
Will
dead,
she
but
still
I'm
have the
gonna be
one
like,
gray
yeah,
streak,
Dream Warden?
or will her whole
Of
hair
course.
be
She
gray?
has to. Maybe one side.
Ooh.
It'll be like Nicole. Again, back to Nicole Kidman. It'll be like Dr. Chase Meridian's Dream Warden doll from Batman Returns, where
I think
one
that
side is
they just
white.
call it a dream or a Malaysian dream doll. They don't call it a warden.
a Dream Warden.
Yeah.
Or any of the.
You guys know that in Batman Forever, she has that.
The exact same thing. I remember Dr. Chase.
The doll's not the
The
same.
Dr. Chase Meridian character has...
the physical doll doesn't look the same, but she references it as being a Malaysian Dream Warden doll. Yeah, which is weird. I just think New Nightmare was so ahead of its time in this time that we're living in now, bringing back these movies and kind of rebooting them and all that, it just kind of did, like you said, Tim, they did it already, and that would have been the perfect idea in 2024.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
But it's like they already did it.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything they do now, it's gonna be tough.
But let me also say, devil's advocate, New Nightmares sometimes feels a little soap opera.
It's a little heavy-handed.
I mean, but I love a soap. But I mean, of course, if they made something, I would absolutely go see it. I would support it.
Yeah, totally. Especially with Heather.
I'm sure.
Do we think that Robert would ever? do?
Offer him enough money.
Sure.
Next
I
he
feel
would.
like, didn't he go on record maybe a year or two ago saying he thinks maybe he has like one more Nightmare film in him?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think he said something to the effect of like, "We got to get this show on the road now."
I also feel like with how good digital effects are, if you map his face,
They could just make it look
if you
like
just brought in Robert to just act out some scenes,
1984 Freddy.
you could really make that shit
Yeah.
look like the 1984 movie.
Yeah, no, they could. And the good thing about Freddy being in a dream world is that obviously he doesn't have to age. You know, he's not in our world. So
Yes, yeah. Because that's the problem. Because then you start getting into like, you know, why is Winifred Sanderson
Why did
30 years older? You know,
Why do they look a little more digitally
Yeah.
smoothed out?
Yeah.
In the new movie.
Yeah, if they're
Yeah.
witches and their whole deal is like eternal youth. and all
no,
that
that's
stuff.
the problem. Yeah, but with
yeah.
the effects now, you're right. They could totally make him look like Freddy from '84.
Yeah, and his face is all crazy anyway, so it doesn't have to be like, you know, Jeff Bridges and Tron.
Did you two immediately not like the 2010 movie when you first
I
saw
saw
it?
it twice, and I thought it was fine.
I remember I really didn't like the portrayal of Freddy. I think Jackie Earle Haley's a good actor, but I didn't like his portrayal of Freddy. I thought he was, this is going to sound horrible, way too short to play Freddy. He was not menacing.
Okay.
I
yeah.
thought the character of Nancy Rooney Mara was so effing boring. She had
Lifeless.
she was lifeless. She had
Yeah.
no emotions. I thought I liked what's her name, Katie Cassidy's character.
Oh yeah,
the
she was great.
Tina-ish
Katie Cassidy should have been the lead actress.
Yeah, and I liked some of the other
sure,
characters and the kills and stuff, but I did not buy Freddy, and that actor was just not misplaced in it. And then the Nancy was just so blah. Like I wanted to kill myself watching Nancy.
Right. And that just goes to show you that part 3 holds up the test of time, whereas the 2010 remake is just a pile of poo.
Poe.
You know, it's very interesting because I think we've talked about this in our other Nightmare reviews, but you know, I think we take Robert Englund.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not for granted, but I think he's so good in this role. Unlike somebody like Michael Myers or Jason, where they are in a mask,
They're really interchangeable. You just
doesn't-
need a stuntman.
I mean, I don't know. Doesn't matter who's playing it. Yeah, to some extent it does. But, you know, they talk about in Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah, there are those weird shots
There's scenes where
that
it's
really
not,
stick out. Mhm.
it's not him, and it's just somebody kind of made up, and it's just in the steam of the shower. You won't see him. And he walks through, and you're like, no, obviously, clearly. Like, Robert Englund brings this physicality to the role. Like, he's an actor. He's a real actor, and he's acting this role. And it's not just, I'm a boogeyman. Like, it's in his entire physicality. It's in his body. And when Freddy stands there, he kind of has his hip cocked to one side, and it's that, like, contrapposto, like, pose. And his reasoning for that was, like, the glove is heavy, and, like, it's a real thing that's made of, like, you know, these industrial knives and all that shit that he thought of. And it's like, we don't think about it because it's not our job to think about it. But when it comes down to when it's not him, then we're like, oh, this is wrong.
Yeah. No, but you're right.
He did it so
Yeah.
right. You know,
It can't be. I mean, yeah, I think I'm trying to think. I mean, that's a good point because it's like, would I have been okay with any other actor other than Robert Englund? Who knows? All I know is that I just didn't find Jackie Earle Haley convincing as Freddy. And also, again, like, to make the Final Girl like the least likable character, or the one that had the least amount of emotions, like, it was just too big mistakes in my book for that one.
Yeah.
I know that Rooney Mara has done interviews of how she does not like to talk about that movie.
Really?
I'm
Like
glad
she
they
really wishes
cast
that
her.
it was. She really
Yeah.
wishes that it was scrubbed from her IMDb.
Well, I think Rooney Mara is just too cool and
Yeah.
too like.
Yeah,
I'm
especially now.
I'm a real actress, so fuck that horror movie that I did when I was starting.
Which
out.
is so
I
dumb
mean,
because she was playing the lead, like this celebrated character. So that could have
Yeah.
been. That's great. I mean, it wasn't a throwaway part, but her performance was a throwaway performance.
Right. Like, I mean, I want to love her, but I don't. And that's why Nancy in part 3 is so great.
Yeah.
You always like Nancy,
and it's heartbreaking when she does. That.
It is, and I'm wondering, like, I still remember the first time I saw, again, I was in junior high at a sleepovers. I remember being shocked that they killed her because it's such a, first off, she's the one that survived the first movie, and she's so helpful to the kids in this movie. And then it's, like, in such a heartbreaking scene because, like, you think, oh, her dad died, she's reconnecting with him, and then, she gets stabbed, and it's really Freddy. It's just horrible. But talk about shocking. I mean, that had to be shocking.
It's something now horror fans would lose their damn minds about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for the lead to just be because I think the filmmakers too were just like, okay, we brought her back, but now she is a quote unquote this adult.
It would be like killing Sydney in the new Scream movie.
But I think the filmmakers were just like, we have to make room for new casts now because she's aging out of it or whatever. We need more teenagers.
But it's like I see that, but it's like, why can't they just let them move on? Like, meaning do new movies and they're not coming after her. Like, why kill the person that's so
right? Why can't she just take a trip to France?
Or no, she just moved away? Which nobody does.
That's why
That's
I'm kind of fine with Neve Campbell maybe sitting out this new movie. I'm fine with giving Sydney a happy ending.
Well, I am too, but and that's a whole nother topic. Like,
that's a whole nother discussion.
I really want to start because I'm one of those people who's like, it doesn't feel like a Scream movie without Sydney. Like, especially after 5 movies of her being so pivotal.
Well, it's kind of like American Idol. Like, give me. I don't watch American Idol, but like it's on. They keep trying to recreate American Idol. Just let it go away for 5 years. Same with these films.
American Idol. Bring back Paul Abdul.
And Ryan Seacrest's hair.
Ryan Seacrest is still, he's the only one that's still on it.
He's our through line. Yeah, I do agree that if they did this nowadays, I think fan culture and Twitter and all of that is just so insane and can just be so toxic when it comes to things like this. It's like,
I mean, I've seen people just constantly bitching about the new Halloween movie for 2 weeks straight now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's all that I'm seeing on Instagram.
Well, that's
now.
the thing. And anything, I feel like nowadays, like, touching any old franchise, again, it's just like we talk about, we want a new movie and stuff. Part of me is like, and I want a new movie in all these franchises we love, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, but no matter what, it's going to be ripped apart. Like, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah,
the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, ripped apart. The new Halloween movie, ripped apart. And, some of the reasons I see, but it's like the hatred for it. It seems to always be when we do new movies for established franchises,
Because it falls into hands of people that are not like us.
Well, but a lot of these movies, maybe they weren't the greatest. Ow! I just banged my head. Maybe they weren't the greatest, but they don't deserve like the sheer just hatred and like.
Well, especially when they're coming from these franchises that are filled, with these middle of the road sequels.
Like, there's usually some rose-colored glasses when people bitch about the Halloween movies of. They aren't really sticking up for Curse of Michael Myers all that much.
There's some garbage.
How about Halloween Resurrection, a classic?
Yeah,
motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
The first one that I'm sure that you watched, Matt, when you got that new Scream Factory 4K.
Oh my god!
I'm sure that you
throw
put.
in Resurrection.
I'm sure that you put that
in Resurrection.
right
You're like,
in the
I need
player.
to see new interviews.
Oh my god, Resurrection, the absolute worst.
I need some supplements for
I
Resurrection.
love that they got the new interviews for Resurrection and not H2O.
I think with the Nightmare franchise, like I said, this kind of sets up a new kind of mini trilogy within, the Nightmare on Elm Street series, with Dream Warriors, Dream Master, and Dream Child, of varying quality. Of the 3, this is probably the best.
Definitely, it's the strongest entry of the
Yeah.
Trilogy?
Yeah. No,
the Dream
It's my
trilogy,
favorite.
yeah.
It's my favorite sequel of the whole series. That and New Nightmare. But yeah,
Oh, I always thought it was Dream Child.
Dream Child was a total just WTF movie.
And that's the thing. Dream Child is a mess, and it's like, if they were to create a reboot or something, they'd just be like, "Oh, you've ruined my childhood. Nightmare on Elm Street is untouchable," and it's like, but wait a minute.
I know, but again, social media wasn't around then, so the only thing you could do is be like, "Wow, that movie sucked," to your friend.
Yeah, and then you'd read
Exactly,
one review in your local newspaper.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even social media wasn't around when Freddy vs. Jason came out.
No.
And that movie, I feel like, was made because of the internet.
Yeah.
Of you need to have these two characters fight just on message boards.
Yeah.
AIM, people were like, but on AIM, Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Remember when they were going to do a Freddy versus Jason part 2? I think even Monica told us like they thought they were going to, but then it just
I mean, that
didn't
movie
happen.
probably could have made $80 million.
I was going to say, I feel like it made a shit ton of money when it came out opening weekend.
Yeah. I was
words.
there. I was alive.
Kelly Rowland.
Yeah. They love Beyonce's sister.
Do you know that I saw Freddy vs. Jason at the Lewistown, Montana drive-in? It was a double feature with Underworld. Two very dark movies to watch at the drive-in.
right.
Dark,
I went
yeah,
opening
like-
weekend to see Freddy vs. Jason, and the entire theater was packed. It was a really fun way of seeing
I saw it in the Dome.
Ooh,
lucky.
I saw it in the Dome.
Yeah, I don't want to brag right now. Okay, we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Freddy versus... Yeah.
But I also think what the Nightmare movies have on its side that I feel like the biggest cheerleader of the franchise, it was the head of New Line. It was Bob Shea. So I
Robert
feel like
Shea.
they threw cash behind these movies. Unlike a lot of the Halloween and maybe Friday the 13th movies where they were really working on a shoestring budget and they just really had to bust the shit out and make it under whatever amount that the studio gave them. But I feel like the Nightmare movies always had the studio backing behind them.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch like the new Terrifier 2 and you watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3, there is a comparison. Like they're working with what little they have, but they're so aggressively good. So it's like, that's what I felt.
It's also like when you're doing dreams, it's like
You've got
it's
some liberties.
blue sky,
Yeah.
like anything goes. Nobody's going to be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. You can't do that to a person. That's why. But unfortunately, like Dream Child, you can take it too far. Like dreams can be anything. Like you can do anything in a dream. So that means you can create any death or any type of thing you want.
Well, and then we kind of, this is, I don't know, maybe the beginning of like Freddy mania with like kids and teenagers. And so in the next movie, they went like full MTV with, is it Rennie Harlan?
Yeah.
Directing it, and like there's all this, it's chock full of like really cool music and all of that. This movie didn't quite have as many great songs in it, but it does have a theme song by Dokken.
Yeah.
Yes, Tim's favorite band, Dokken.
Dukin.
Tim's favorite band,
Tim's
Dokken.
favorite activity, docking.
I don't know what it means. But
We'll put a link to the Urban Dictionary.
Tim,
on,
you're going to look
on our
up docking.
socials.
Can I read what docking is according to
No,
Urban
we'll do it
Dictionary?
after.
Oh.
I'm afraid it's filthy.
Do you really not know what docking is?
That's for the Patreon.
Oh, are you going to give them a demonstration?
That's for the
guys,
OnlyFans.
You guys, this is the Movies That Made Us Gay podcast. I think that you can read the Urban Dictionary definition
I
of
looked
docking.
at the first thing that came up on Urban Dictionary was armpit sex.
Is that true?
That is not it.
That is not. No. Docking is not that. Docking is a very intimate and intense sexual act performed by two uncircumcised men.
Ew.
Guy one.
It could just be one.
It can just be
Guy
one.
one pulls his foreskin back and holds it, while Guy two stretches his open and outward as far as possible over the head and shaft of Guy one's penis. Then Guy one repeats the procedure as he's releasing all of his. Oh, Jesus, that is a very like.
Oh, this is crazy.
It's basically
yeah.
His expression looks like his mom is reading
Tip
this
to
right
tip.
now.
Yeah, it's they just put the heads of their penis together and one person
The moist juices. Are you reading?
rolls their foreskin over the head of the other penis. That's all it is, Tim. It's just like, it's like jump rope.
Very
That's
easy.
not my kind of penis.
Do Chinese finger handcuffs. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, Dokken does sing Dream Warriors, which I love because it's a great song. It's total 80s heavy metal.
That's not why they named themselves that.
Well, it's not. They're not called.
It's not docking. It's Dokken.
Dokken.
Yeah.
Like as in Ken.
Which doesn't really. It's not a word. Yeah. Dokken are an 80s hair metal, glam metal
I remember the music
band,
video,
if
sure.
you will.
Did they have clips from the movie in it?
Yeah.
Did they have Freddy in it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
It was on the VHS.
Yeah, it's cool.
It played after the movie.
Warriors.
I mean, again, I'm a little older than everyone here, so I remember it on MTV.
Yeah.
Oh, no, except for we're the same age. Never
And
mind.
maybe tonight.
I was going to say, yeah.
Take it.
I just assume I'm older than everybody.
He is.
I mean,
He's older than Father Time.
Father Time.
Most of our guests we're older than. But, yeah, Dokken, I feel like, was a minor hair metal band. There were no Bon Jovi. There were no, Guns N' Roses, obviously. And the word Dokken, Dokken. I don't know what the hell that means. Somebody's name.
Are they American?
Oh, Don Dokken. It's like the lead singer.
Don Dokken.
Yeah, they're from
Okay.
I would have a group called
Yeah.
Murdock with 2 Ks.
See, that's great. I love
Thank
that.
you.
That's a good heavy
Oh,
metal
I
band
think it's
name.
stupid.
Oh, you're a bitch.
Donald Maynard Dokken.
You're a total bitch.
I think it's dumb.
Hater.
Murdock. But what
But,
if you were Murdockin?
Murdockin.
Murdockin.
No, that would be your like super
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Dokken. Tim Murdock and
You
Steve
and Don Dokken,
or
yeah.
whatever his name was.
We're going on the road.
The Murdockin. It's like what do they call
can-
it? Turducken? The turkey and the
group. There you go. Coming to Margaritaville near you.
Yeah.
coming to a local dive bar in Springwood, Ohio.
Tomorrow.
You're gonna be playing the like casinos, the Indian casinos, and the like.
From like 4:15 to 5 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Early bird special.
I love it, and as long as you open and close the show with Dream Warriors, you're good.
And a live docking show.
Yeah. Ew.
Ooh, again for the
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Armpit size.
You're going to have a duet with Tuesday Night.
Oh,
I really like Tuesday
mean-
Night song.
I mean, Nightmare. The song from Part 4 is great. Like, it's a great opening.
This is
That's a
what we're
great song.
saying. Part 4 is like chock full of bangers. There's a great song by the Divinals.
Yeah, that
There's, like,
great Divinal song when they're going into school. What is that song that when he's doing like karate?
Oh.
anything.
Yeah. Exactly. How does it go?
That's a big new wave song.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
like
it's a popular
such in deep
song. Why
thought.
am I not getting it? But yes, when he's doing karate and practice, or when she's doing karate,
It's drama
or
rama.
when it's someone with when it's a guy with a brown wig, and then they show her from the front, and it's her with red hair.
And there's also a really good Sinead O'Connor song,
Yeah.
"Put Your Hands on
Put
Me."
your
When
hands on me.
on me, put your hand. Oh
And
my
then
God.
she had
That
to
is
go
a really
ruin
good
it
song.
on Saturday Night Live.
I mean, good
She
old
had to rip up
Sinead.
that
Picture of the
She had to rip
Pope.
up that picture of the Pope.
Fight the real enemy.
Right. An old pope.
Nightmare 4, which many people kind of remember as being one of the most disgusting
Oh my God,
gory
that cockroach scene
80s horror movies.
is, I think, one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
It's
in a
an
movie.
intense scene, but
God.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
We're
after
not
her
we're not
arms
big
are
like
ripped
splattercore
backwards,
fans.
and then
Yeah.
she has cockroach arms, and then gets crushed
Squeezed.
and oozes out.
In the Roach Motel. We're not big horror splattercore fans,
We have
so
not seen-
we're missing the whole Terrifier
We
franchise.
have not
We're
seen the
just like,
Terrifier.
Yeah, it's not
Wow.
for the squeamish.
It
Not
isn't,
there.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's very 80s horror, but area 80s splatter
It's
horror.
disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, gore. Here's why I think you guys could deal with it, because the effects are purposely done in almost a very 80s sort of way, so it's more comical than realistic. Like, you're not going to see it and be like, oh my God, that really looks like someone's insides. Like, it looks like 80s effects doing really gore.
Okay.
So it is gory. But I don't believe, like, the people, I know those articles about people faint, because we saw Terrifier 2, and about people fainting and throwing up. Like, we were sort of laughing at them because they're done in a very effecty way. It didn't feel, like, it didn't make me feel sick at all. I don't know.
I was fine.
And we're not gore people either. Like, we're not like, oh God, give me more blood and guts. Like, that doesn't make good horror for us.
No.
But
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 makes good horror.
exactly. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is good. Plot, characters.
I still think I'm going to miss both Terrifiers. But you know what is coming to HBO Max very soon, in a few days, is Barbarian.
Oh, is it already?
Oh.
That was quick.
So good.
Tomorrow, I think.
What?
Yeah.
So, Barbarian had the type of craziness that I wanted from a movie like X. Like, I thought X was fine. I didn't flip for it. I feel like Barbarian really delivered of, holy shit, this movie is fucking
I just
nuts.
can't believe it's on HBO Max.
Did you like the saggy tit breastfeeding scene?
Loved it.
I mean,
love
what's
Mama.
better than a
like,
big saggy tit
Queen.
breastfeeding an adult? Am I right?
Docking?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It all ties together,
Oh,
you guys.
you go from docking.
Literally ties together.
Ew!
Oh my goodness. Well, there's some splattercore gore movies going on in theaters and on VOD, but Nightmare 3 is also on HBO Max right now. So if listeners, kids, if you have not watched it,
I mean, I feel like this movie has a reputation of being just one of the great horror sequels of all time.
Yeah.
I think that Eli Roth covered it in A History of Horror when they did their sequels episode.
Yo.
They talked about Dream Warriors, I think Scream 2 and Psycho 2. So, I mean, it has a big following.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it definitely,
Fans of the series can always agree on how good this
Yeah.
movie is.
Matt was contemplating a tattoo yesterday of Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh, definitely. Actually, what he meant to say was of docking. I wanted a tattoo of two
Gross.
you can also get
uncircumcised
that.
penises.
We have to end this. We're getting gross.
being pulled in. No. I mean, I
listen, Tim, don't yuck someone's yum.
exactly.
all right?
That's true.
Just
I mean,
because
what
you're
if I
not
yucked
into
your
it.
yum?
Well, then it would be,
Ew.
it'd be basic.
I know. Tim's yum is like missionary sex, please.
I like- this
in
is what I
bed with the
like.
lights out.
I like handshakes.
Wearing a nightgown.
I like hugs.
Wearing full nightgown
Under the covers.
Yeah.
Under the covers.
This is as
both
naked
of you.
as Tim gets during sex. Full plaid
How
shirt
would you
on.
know?
I've heard. Randy
Oh,
told
okay.
me.
He's
Wow.
the OnlyFans. I mean,
Bringing up my ex, you bitch.
meanwhile, we are, looking for dark alleys and
Who isn't?
chain link fences.
Oh.
I mean,
Are you watching American Horror Story NYC?
Okay,
No.
so is it worth
Yeah.
watching? I heard that there's a lot of cruising references.
It is.
It's 100%
it's a whole
cruising.
cruising
We
season.
love
That's all it is.
William Friedkin's cruise.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
all it is.
you'll
It's a great
love
movie.
100%
So is
cruising.
it?
It's not supernatural
blatant
or
ripoff.
monsters. It's just
it's
cruising.
just
gay,
cruising.
gay, New York City cruising. Like that
It's-
explains
BD
everything.
BDSM.
Well, I've already seen cruising.
There's
so
some
I'm okay.
scenes that literally replicate scenes from
Yeah,
cruising.
like the slap in the police station. Like some of them are
Then why?
specific.
Then why?
Do they do the popper
Then
scene?
why is it
They
called
do
American
poppers.
Horror
They
Story?
do
Like,
cocaine. they
where he
do
does
it
the
all.
poppers
then
and it
why?
like,
Then
and it
why
changes
is
into
it
color?
called American Horror Story?
Because it's
like,
Brian Murphy can get away with anything.
just call it cruising. Like, I don't know.
Well, I was curious if they're going to go
not gonna watch
for if they're going to have a space like the Dakota.
Nope.
Like an old New York apartment building that has spooky, witchy activity in it, but apparently not.
I mean, they've
But who
only
knows?
released 2 episodes, so I can't speak to where they're going. And I know that American Horror Story is famous for like doing huge 180s in the middle of their season, and suddenly it's something
and becoming
new.
trash after 3
Exactly,
episodes.
yeah.
And unwatchable and
I-
completely boring.
So far,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was okay. I would give it an okay.
I mean, once you get past that, what you're watching is a complete ripoff, you'll be fine.
Then why? Then why?
I think he's depending on that,
Docking.
that, and I think he's depending on like, oh, no one's seen this 1980 movie.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Gays. Yeah. I mean, some gays haven't seen it.
They're
A
not
lot
going
of-
back to watch.
Not our
Al
listeners.
Pacino
Our
dance.
listeners have seen it because we've covered it.
We've done a cruising
and,
episode.
It's amazing. So go listen to that. Stop watching this stupid piece of shit derivative show
It's
directed
art.
by a moron.
I still
And-
might watch at least the first episode.
You haven't even watched Dahmer yet.
We haven't either.
Yeah,
I haven't either,
I haven't seen Dahmer.
but I will. I will love it.
And he likes to eat dinner while he watches.
Yeah, people.
There you go.
I helped Evan Peters pick out a computer book when I worked at Barnes & Noble. He was very nice.
Really? Was this before or after
And when
American Horror Story?
This was as American Horror Story was airing, and I was on the phone with him, and he gave me his name,
Oh.
Evan
That's so
Peters, and I
cool.
was like, oh.
And he
Wow.
put 2 and 2 together.
Yep.
But I think we should. I think it's time to wrap this one up. We're running out of time here. But like we said, if you don't already own a complete anthology of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, listeners, you can watch this on HBO Max if you have it, or you can just rent it for a couple dollars. I think if you only see 2 Nightmare on Elm Street movies, see the first one and this one.
I feel like we kind of every year will watch, almost the entire series.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we go back.
But we're not like, we only watch horror movies in October. Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. Like when he goes on Letterboxd, and it's like, we're watching Halloween. Well, we watched this 3 times.
Yeah, we watched it in July. But I feel like we sort of dip in and out of this series 12 months out of the year.
I watch Nightmare on Elm Street movies all the time. Just like I can watch any of them at any point of the day. And I think that the Dream trilogy, starting with Dream Warriors, I just have a really soft spot for, because those are the ones that I watched the most. Sure. Like in my formative years,
I've grown to really like Dream Master, but I feel like when I first watched it, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I think I like it more with each viewing of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also love Dream Warriors more with each viewing. And also, if you were to just stop this series after Dream Warriors, kind of
But
perfect.
then you wouldn't have the Dream Child.
It's a good ending.
Yeah. This is true. Or Dan, what's Dan's real name?
Danny Hassel. My favorite himbo of horror movies.
Major
I think
League
he's
hunk.
so fucking handsome in those movies.
He is
one Major League hunk indeed. Matt and Tim, thank you so much for joining us on our Halloween weekend episode. That's so cool. I mean, you two, I always just associate you both with Halloween and horror movies.
A treat,
really
but not a trick.
A treat.
Absolutely.
And your show is a treat.
Hey, but not a trick.
But not a trick, though. And your guys' show, like, you get some really fun guests.
Yeah, talk about
actually
Happy
Halloween.
Talk
funny
about Happy
enough,
Horror
is
Time.
our 2-year anniversary of doing the podcast, and we just we're all horror all the time, and we switch off between either reviewing new releases, like new movies that just came out over the last couple weeks, horror movies, and interviewing horror stars from movies like this. Like we had Ken Sagos on the show from part 3. We had Danny Hassel for part 4, and Tuesday night. So like every other episode is either a movie review of like new releases or an interview with a horror star that, probably people that love these movies like. So it's Happy Horror Time, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Happy Horror Time, or happyhorrortime.com. Tim?
All the platforms.
All the platforms, yes. But before we ever did Happy Horror Time, the podcast, we were guesting on your podcast, so I think it's like the 3rd time.
Yeah, I actually came to your house.
Yep.
Oh well,
and by big,
Tim was one of our first big.
Yeah, Tim did
for Poltergeist 3. So Tim, so you did Poltergeist 3. Poltergeist 3 is kind of when I start to think of a movie to do on the show, and I'm like, that's
hilarious.
And then I think, we did Poltergeist 3.
I love it. I love Poltergeist 3. It's
so
fun.
I think we can make it work.
Yeah, really fun movie. Really fun episodes with the both of you. Listeners, go check out their show, Happy Horror Time.
You.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you guys for coming on. This was so much fun.
Have a good night's sleep, y'all.
Yes,
and,
happy Halloween.
We will see you very soon.
Okay, bye.
Yes.
Talk to you guys soon.
You
Bye-bye.
too. And thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Oh, what a month, Pete.
Yeah, what a month.
We did some really good movies this month. A lot of movies that I had been wanting to do since we began the show in 2019. So I'm glad that we finally got to movies like The Craft, The Dream Warriors. So much fun.
Absolutely. And love Tim and Matt. They're great guests. Love having them on the show. Happy Horror Time is also it's a sister podcast, if you will. But I think it's about that time of the show.
For Patreon shout-outs?
Time for some Patreon shout-outs. Yes, indeed.
Let's hear them.
We would love to say hey and hello and thank you so much to our patrons, Thomas, Mark, Jackson, Millie, Darcy, Ted, Benny, Jamel, Melanie, Christopher, Susan, JJ, Shelby, Michael, Muffy, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, Emma, Millie, Aaron, Melinda and Jim, Jessica, Nick and Shannon, Christine, and also Rufino. Thank you so much, guys. The Patreon has been active lately. We have a new newsletter that's been posted, a new commentary track for the original Halloween.
And around the time this episode comes out, we will have a second movie that we are going to be doing.
Yes,
for
indeed.
Patreon
We're going to be
commentary.
doing an additional commentary.
Probably the week that this episode drops, we'll have a new one.
Right. We usually do try to do one a month. This month we're going to do two just because we're feeling sassy and there's tons of movies to get to. So we're going to do another commentary track. So head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay for all of those special activities and fun things. And we love all of your support. Even if you can't, anything that you can donate goes directly to keeping the podcasts up and posted every month. For free and ad-free, and it goes directly to keeping the show afloat. So thank you so much, everybody. We also would love it if you would rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts or
Give
Spotify.
Us 5 stars, please. Yeah, we would love to see that.
If there's a 5-star button, just mash it on there. And if you want to write us a review, go ahead and do that. We would also love it. If you don't feel like writing something, if you don't know what to write, just hit the 5 stars.
Yeah.
It helps us out. We've been charting lately.
Yeah, we've been getting really good numbers lately.
iTunes.
We've been making it in
the
film and review.
Yeah,
top 50.
The U.S. film review charts. We've been in the top 50. That is no doubt thanks to our appearance on I Saw What You Did podcast. Go over to I Saw What You Did podcast, hosted by Danielle Henderson and Millie DiCirico. We were on there talking about horror icons, and that was a lot of fun. We did a Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Their episode this week that dropped with they talk about Pet Sematary and The Omen. I need to listen to that episode.
They do.
I love those two movies.
Absolutely. So check out I Saw What You Did. And we love all of the new listeners that we got because of that appearance. So that was really great. 5 stars, write a review. Really helps us out a lot. You can follow us on social media. We are at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram and on Facebook, and on Twitter we are at
MTMUG Pod.
Yes, indeed. And if you want to follow our personals, feel free. I'm Pete. I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy Halloween. We will see you very, very soon. Bye.